the internet. I wish it didn't cut it out. Anyways, welcome back to another chapter of the Mikado Saga. Last time, Trunks has actually found Volt, and they were successful on finding Ayame and Sion, as well as Dominique and the Dragon Ball. So, what about Ko and Goten? Well, let's find out. Alright. I was not looking forward to this. The stealth mission with Ko is without doubt the most difficult out of the three bouncers. Not to mention it was the most strenuous to write. I hated this one so much, but at least involving Goten kind of lightened the mood, just a notch. And the cutscenes are going to be just as bad. Chapter 6, Z Fighters to the Rescue, Part 3. At the right vent, Goten was still venturing through them. Compared to the other fighters, since he was the youngest and the tiniest, he almost seemed like a mouse. Out of the trio, he was having the most trouble. He hasn't found any of the bouncers or the Dragon Ball yet for the past 45 minutes. He grew very impatient and his determination was fading. Oh, when am I going to find any of these guys? He was passing through a window which overlooked a locker room, and he saw a tattooed man with long disheveled hair. Stopped for a few seconds, then pressed on. However, he halted as he recalled what the person was. He found one of the missing bouncers. That's him! It's Ko! Scurried to the vent again, making a little ruckus. That actually woke him up and triggered this cutscene. So, here you are. And yeah, they have to pick Ko-Leifo for this. This is actually one of the loading screens, by the way.
Ugh, smells like a sweat sock in here. Of all the places they could have thrown me.
Hey, keep it quiet in there.
Oh, well, excuse me.
Princess? Like, seriously. Ugh. Like the Great Clement once said, everyone is secure, wasn't secure except for Volt. Volt was, like, pinched with the, middle cups, but the others were just fine. Ugh, what the heck? They're so incompetent. Alright. Ko kicked him in the gut and kept at it until he fell over. Goten from the vents was impressed of his fancy legwork. His spiral kicks gave him the most admiration, as he coordinated his moves perfectly. Wow! That bouncer is amazing! Goten thought as he smiled deeply. Then he hit himself as he scurried back. Thankfully, Ko never noticed him. Instead, he just flawlessly put on the outfit. And, this is gonna take a while. So, yada yada yada. It's like Sion is like the easiest bouncer in terms of difficulty when they're separated, and Volt is like medium, while Ko is the most difficult because he has a little different of a fighting style, and also the scenario is different, which you'll see later. So, hold on just one second. So Ko is by far the most difficult out of the three bouncers. You'll see. He has a different scenario than them. Alright, so that scene's done. And here goes. And then there's the load screen. A football locker. What? Infiltrating Mikado Corporation, a recovered dominator, used the utmost discretion to avoid upsetting the present situation. The Special Forces units apparently used some sort of code signal to identify allies. To help you deal with the situation, the following signals have been identified. If you come across an enemy, use the same coded signal as he does. If they identify you, use your best judgment to resolve the situation as quickly as possible. Good luck. And the worst part is your stamina carries out throughout the mission. It doesn't refill in between fights like the others, which is more difficult. So, alright, here's the list of moves coming up. Alright, Old Man in Thought, Lady's Temptation, Only Warrior, Unparalleled Friendship. So, yeah. I'm telling ya, it's not gonna be easy. I can never get this perfect either. Alright. For that, did special orders. Huh. Leanne must have sent me this, Ko wondered. Shifted to the next screen, which showed a list of special poses, and he studied each one. So, there's that. He had to study each pose carefully, otherwise, if the worst should happen, no use filling his head with doubt and worry. He must retrieve the damsel, and Goten was just watching him mimic them, as if he was trying to memorize them himself. Ko left the room, although his brown hair was showing hanging down behind the mask. The first mook he saw approached him in a very dark white range alley. Many spaces were closed with gray sliding doors. One pose was Old Man in Thought, and he copied it. Keep up the good work. Everything's under control. He went to a door straight ahead and became agitated. I need a car key. The man tapped him on the shoulder. Ko turned, and the man did Lady's Temptation. The disguised man copied it. Good day, sir. Working hard? Thinking there was nowhere else to go, he walked back to his starting point and went to the other direction. As he was passing a wall that said Sander, an elevator was just a few feet away. Unfortunately, a mook just got in his way. He did Old Man in Thought again, and Ko instantly followed. It's all clear on our side. He walked away, and Ko made a brief hesitation to gather his bearings. All right. I made it through somehow. But that was only round one, Goten thought, still in a vent blowing a warm breeze, as if he read Ko's mind. Secret Agent met a mook at a bright balcony, and that one was a bit cocky as he strutted towards him. First he did Old Man in Thought, then Unparalleled Friendship, then Old Man, then Friendship, then repeated the pattern until he did Lady's Temptation twice. Then he repeated Old Man and Friendship again, then... He kept going until Goten's head was getting dizzy. However, Ko managed with a keen eye, and the mook saluted him and pointed to the narrow curved hall to the right with thin metal rails. The spy passed a ninja, and he rushed off of a small table. Then his poses were just too fast. He was really trying to confuse his rival. If Ko fails this one, he might... Identify yourself! Ko's mind just couldn't keep up. He raised his arms as he shrugged, then 3 mooks showed up. From the vent above, Goten did a facepalm. Oh man! I've had enough of this! He burst open the vent and landed in the middle of the crowd on his feet, where you'll hear that song. Everyone was surprised to see a little kid with spiky black hair and a red vest with a blue undershirt emerge in the middle of a fight. But he just stood there, ready to take them on. No matter nor care, all the cold-hearted ninjas but one ran to him. First, Goten increased his acute senses. He was very nimble and had a striking accuracy. Every punch and kick were exact as he dealt with the ninjas. They did hit him with two a few times, but Goten was incredibly resilient. As the foursome gained on him, he managed to dive between a person's legs, escaping the melee. "Wanna see me do a trick?" Goten cupped his hands behind his back and yelled, "Kame Kame Ha!" Thrust his hands forward and nothing happened. Whoops. The ninjas closed in and Ko finally stepped up to the plate with a kick. Yeah! They came down like a bunch of bowling pins. Lastly, Goten powered up and tried it again. Kamehameha! The blast made a hole, causing all the assassins fall to their demise. Thank you. He wasn't very pleased, even though the sane kid can't see through his mask. Okay, who are you? You got some explaining to do, you little runt. My name is Goten, sir. I was sent here by Ayame to find you. We're looking for Dominique and the Dragon Ball, that's all. I don't want to cause any trouble. I'm on your side. Ko's expression changed. He started to calm down a little. He was sent here by Ayame? That figures. Why would she send just a kid? Looked at the tall man, puzzled on what he's going to do with him. So you're Goten and you were sent by Ayame, correct? Yeah. I think you're one of the bouncers we've been looking for. Goten's demeanor eased. I suppose I am. My name's Ko Leifo. I'm just here to get Dominique and get out of this hellhole. Listen, I'm on a very important mission and under very strict orders, so you best stay out of my way. Okay, sure. Just then they heard footsteps coming from the back right. Ko immediately told Goten his plan as he knelt to him. The kid nodded when he was done whispering his plan. Then two mooks went to the duo. They saw one of their men hold Goten in front of his chest, and his hand was wrapped around his mouth as he struggled to break free. He just kept screaming as Ko held him very tightly, though the Saiyan barely felt it. Looks like we got ourselves a little intruder, huh? Lousy punk! Doesn't he know it's almost his bedtime? I guess not. I need to teach this troublemaker some manners. He was the one who killed my patrolmen back there, Ko mentioned as he made his grip even more punishing. Goten quieted his outbursts. Just leave this little bastard to me. I'll handle this. He tried to sound menacing to them, and it worked. The thugs bought it. It was a white lie, though we knew Ko was joking to buy them from another assault. When they got to the end, Ko released Goten. Way to think on your feet, man. I guess that's a smart idea. Way to think on your feet, man. I guess that was a smart idea. But you should stay out of my way. Gotcha! At the well-lit hall, he saw another one waiting by the wall. He just stood there. Ko had to make an effective pose, and he had to make one quick. Out of sheer luck, he did Women's Temptation, and the mook followed. Thank goodness there was no alarm this time. Working hard? Though the assassin didn't respond, probably having a long day. I can relate to that. Two mooks approached him shortly afterward. The left did Lonely Warrior, while the right did Old Man, and thought which should Ko pick? He hesitated while looking at the pair with wild eyes. Goten was watching above, and the tension mounted rapidly. Beads of sweat were forming on his head, and he bit his lips hard. He rubbed his forehead, and he was about to bust out again. Ko saw what Goten did, and used the move Old Man in Thoughts, which allowed him safe passage. Everything's under control. The duo left and Goten took a fresh sigh of relief. Damn, I'm good. Thanks again, Goten. No problem, Ko. Although his actions weren't really intentional. I have to do the waiting game again. Because seriously, there's so many fight scenes here. Ugh. I can't stand this, especially with this lousy internet. But yeah, I actually picked Goten and Ko because they're like the most nimble out of the bunch. Like when you play the Dragon Ball Z games, Goten is the most nimble. And if you pick Ko, he's the most nimble, but he's actually weaker than Sion is. Ugh, damn buffering. Hold on just 1 second. I wish YouTube Studio could actually help me, like, edit these scenes, you know? I think it can. Maybe it can help me edit these scenes, like trim them out. Ugh, it's not easy. Alright, hold on. Huh. There's that. Ugh, come on. I have to wait until it, like, loads up. Ugh, I hate this internet. Hate it. Ugh. And this is when all 3 bouncers eventually get together. So, hold on just a second here. Ugh. Gotta turn off the internet and turn it back on to get better reception. But I doubt it. So, here goes. Let's get this over with.
Hey, did you hear that no one's being allowed on the executive floor?
Yeah, I heard they took some kind of top secret cargo up there.
Sounds like trouble to me. It might be a good idea to stay away from there.
Guess I'm going up. Not now.
What? He's not gonna buy that, is he? Huh. Oh, man.
That was way too close. I'd better shut off the comm for now.
We will begin securing the executive floor.
He definitely saw you, man. Goten would follow behind. So, yeah. Alright, before I get to the next cutscene, just, give me a minute here, guys. Okay. So Goten was just following, lagging behind them. Alright. Phew. Alright, Goten was able to make it to the top at the same time the elevator did. It wasn't too much of a struggle as the vents also led up instead of just sideways. He was lucky that he nor Ko got lost. He just couldn't keep up that spy business any longer. Alone at last, Ko took out the yellow phone and did just that. Psst. Another elevator, there were 6 mooks. Ko just strutted with them, and Goten from the vents saw Volt and his good buddy Trunks walk underneath him. Psst! Trunks! The kid with the wrestler didn't pay any attention. Psst! Trunks! Goten was disappointed, but he didn't bother to look up. Having a low power level really did leave him undetected. The door was opening as the mooks were standing in single file. And actually, they saw this cutscene here.
How's my knight in shining armor? Seal. Sorry, better get Dominique while I still can. Volt? Wait, it's me! Pay for that!
Sian, I thought I told you to stay sharp.
That hurt really, really bad, Volt. Oh?
You look pretty spiffy in that outfit, Ko.
Whatever. Well, looks like we got our team together.
Ugh. I could tell the internet. Ugh. Damn it, I hate it. Alright, so anime. Well, actually, it's Sion. Anime. I thought I told you to stay sharp. So, Trunks! A familiar voice called. He looked behind him and he reunited. Goten! He ran to him smiling from ear to ear and they gave each other a high five. Come on, let's go get him! You got my vote! Two Saints were thrilled to see Ayame and their friends in one piece. Nothing was holding them back now. Guys, glad to see you again! She greeted everyone in the room. He, however, wasn't so giddy. Oh, Ko wasn't. So, hopefully the internet would cooperate.
Don't make me angry! You wouldn't like me when I'm angry!
Yeah, whatever, Hulk.
I don't care if I destroy my mind! As long as I slaughter all of you! The moment you lose your cool, you lose the battle.
That's actually a good piece of advice. The moment you lose your cool, you lose the battle. Although, I wish I never lost my cool with fanfiction Dreamer. Anyway, I wish they could choose all 3 bouncers. This guy's lost his mind. Dominique's right here. You think I'm gonna lose her to you now? Huh, that's a good point. With Ko's advice. With the power pole clutched tightly in her hands, she looked to her young friends again and shouted, "One for each of us! Let's take 'em!" Everyone just charged in for the kill. Thank goodness! I finally got all the crap out of the way. I never liked Ko's stealth mission. Maybe hardly anyone does. Except the great Clement. The first few mooks were okay, but until I got to the last two, I could never get these two perfectly, and when I did, it was just out of sheer luck. I would deserve a damn medal if I were to do this whole thing flawlessly, without a guide to back me up. God dang it! I guess that's the only way to keep yourself alive, literally. As you can tell, it's not as lenient as the other two scenarios. And those are the factors on why it's so tricky to pull off. Ugh, I'm done with this chapter. But the painful fun isn't over yet. Enter the escort mission. Little spoiler there. You'll find out why. Until next time, guys.